Your brand new iPhone deserves the best protection, and the iLune 3-pack screen protector plus 3-pack camera lens protector has you covered. Don't take risks with your iPhone. Click the link in the video description to shop now on Amazon.
How hero patient spent 2 hours talking terrorist out of blowing hospital up. A hospital patient has been hailed a hero after talking a lone wolf terrorist out of blowing up a maternity wing. Mohammed Farouk, 29, planned to kill as many nurses as possible when he took a homemade pressure cooker bomb into St. James's Hospital in Leeds in January 2023. He would have caused utter devastation and large-scale loss of life had it not been for the incredible bravery of Nathan Newby. Jailing Farouk for at least 37 years on Friday, Judge Mrs. Justice Chimagrub said of Mr. Newby. He's an extraordinary, ordinary man whose decency and kindness on January 20, 2023, prevented an atrocity in a maternity wing of a major British hospital. She said Mr. Newby is a modest and gentle man whose evidence was among the most remarkable this court has ever heard. During Farouk's trial, jurors heard that, when he first got to the hospital, his plan had been to use a bomb threat to trigger an evacuation alert. After stabbing fleeing staff, he would use an imitation gun to get police to shoot him dead. But the text he sent to an off-duty nurse wasn't seen for an hour, forcing him to concoct another plan. His second plan involved sitting in one of the hospital cafes and waiting for a shift change to detonate the device, which was crammed with twice as much explosives as those used in the Boston Marathon bombing. But prosecutor Jonathan Sandiford told the court luck intervened again because Mr. Newby happened to be standing outside the hospital having a cigarette and noticed Farouk. He said Mr. Newby realized something was amiss and began to talk to him instead of walking away. That simple act of kindness almost certainly saved many lives that night because, as the defendant was later to tell the police officers who arrested him, Mr. Newby succeeded in talking him down. In his police interview played at Sheffield Crown Court, Mr. Newby told detectives how he spotted Farouk as he was walking back into St. James's in the early hours of January 20. He said he just looked upset, as though he'd had some really bad news. "I'm quite good at judging people just by looking at them. I'm quite good at reading people's body language. I just thought I'd go over and see if he's all right. I thought, if he was down, I'd try and cheer him up." Mr. Newby described how he began to chat with Farouk, who told him he just wanted to get them back, and pointed at the hospital. He said Farouk described how was either a student or had worked at the hospital for 2 years, but now, he's lost everything and just wanted to get them back for what they'd done. Mr. Newby said Farouk told him, "They've stabbed me in the back, they've F'd me over." He told the officers that Farouk was agitated and kept looking down at a bag. Mr. Newby asked Farouk what was in bag, and he said it's just a bomb. He said Farouk told him he planning to walk into the hospital canteen. He was just going to set it off and walk out, he said. Mr. Newby said. He even said that he was waiting for the right time when it would be full of nurses. To view this video, please enable JavaScript and consider upgrading to a web browser that supports HTML5. Video. Up next. He said, "I was quite shocked. I thought, wow. I'm looking at what he said was a bomb. He just seemed normal, just like it was normal, as if he'd been shopping and he was showing me a set of trainers." He said, "I just started talking to try and keep him calm. My priority was to get him away from the hospital." Mr. Newby told the officers how he persuaded Farouk to move to a bench where he talked to him for a long time. "I was talking to keep him calm," he said. "I didn't want him flipping." Mr. Newby said he thought at one point about whether he would need to wrestle him to ground, but he seemed to be quite calm. Mr. Newby said Farouk eventually said he wanted to hand himself in and passed him his phone to call 999. It was during the emergency call that Farouk produced a handgun, which later turned out to be an imitation. Mr. Newby said he refused to take the gun from him and asked him to put it on the bench. Before producing the gun, jurors heard Farouk shook Mr. Newby's hand, asked him for a cuddle, and said, "You seem like a nice lad." Mr. Newby told the police, "I talked to him for so many hours, and he's had a gun on him all the way through me talking to him. What if I had wrestled him to the ground and he had got agitated? At a lot of what-ifs. Speaking after Farouk was jailed, Detective Superintendent Paul Greenwood said, "Nathan, in that act of kindness, turned from an act of kindness into an act of bravery." With a lot of humility, Nathan says that he was just in the right place at the right time, and he did nothing special. I think he was the right person in the right place at the right time because almost anybody else, when they realized they were exposed to such risk, would have walked if not run away, quite rightly. But Nathan, very bravely, continued to expose himself to a sustained threat. Even when, during the 999 call, Farouk produced what appeared to be a genuine 9 handgun, which was actually a blank-firing gun that Farouk had adapted to look genuine. He continued in the call and continued to engage and de-escalate Farouk, persuading him to put the gun down and awaited the arrival of the armed officers. Mr. Greenwood said, "He very much plays down the intervention that he had, but I think it was incredibly brave." Get in touch with our news team by emailing us at webnews@metro.co.uk. For more stories like this, check our news page. Never miss the biggest stories with breaking news alerts in your inbox. This site is protected by Ray CAPTCHA and the Google privacy policy and terms of service apply. Your information will be used in line with our privacy policy.